Welcome to Roll for Crit. I'm Will Keeler.
I'm Jonathan Estes, and today we're taking a departure from our usual podcasts that are filled with news and the like. And today we're giving you our special holiday gift guide for 2015, whether you celebrate Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa. I don't know if there's presents on Ramadan, but there's any holiday that you want, or if someone happens to have a birthday at this time, board game related, we're giving you our best picks for games that were released mostly this year that are kind of the new hotness that should make a good gift for somebody in your life that likes board games if you don't know what to get them.
If it's not a good gift, then maybe you shouldn't know them anymore.
Maybe you shouldn't. So we got 10 games for you, and you can find links to buy all of them below in our description. We're just going to give you a brief rundown, and I'm going to throw it to you, Will, for the first one, and it's a big one.
Right. I feel like it's hard that we to not start off with this one because this is sort of a big one everyone's waiting for, is Pandemic Legacy. Now, if you don't know the Pandemic game series, it's pretty much that you are working together to fight off multiple diseases, and it's terrifying.
Across a global scale.
Yes, a global scale, not just your hometown or something.
Yeah, worldwide virus infection.
And things tend to run amok.
But in Pandemic Legacy, it's even crazier.
Because the Legacy title, which we've seen, I think only Risk Legacy is the only one who's had
so
that
far.
Yet, when each playthrough actually affects the rest. So in this game, depending on how well you do or how poorly you do, things are going to happen. They'll have special cases in there that say, do not open until you've lost twice, or if this disease has outbreak 3 times.
Right.
In which case you will open them and it'll tell you new things to do.
So there's a lot of crazy twists, unlike almost any other board game that's out there.
Right. We have had actually a chance to play a lot of the Risk Legacy, and we've got to say that Legacy thing has definitely, we think it's up the game of compared to basic Risk.
Yeah, so if you know someone who likes Pandemic, or really just like any general board gamer is probably going to be into this.
If you got a group of people who are very consistent, then this is definitely the game, because you're supposed to play with the same people.
It's almost a gift for everybody.
Yes. So and really, you're buying yourself something.
So that's an easy way to start out. And we should note there are 2 versions of that, blue and red, but they are identical.
Yeah, so whatever color you like more.
Yes, exactly. And keeping in line with things that have mass appeal for lots of different people, we have X-Wing, the Star Wars Force Awakens core set. X-Wing, of course, has been around for a long time, not that long, but long enough. But this is the new version that is based off the upcoming movie. So obviously, if you know someone who loves Star Wars, this is a surefire hit. X-Wing is a miniatures game. It's a 1v1. You're playing all of your favorite ships from X-Wings, TIE Fighters, X-Wings.
Each side assembles a crew based on whether they're working with the Alliance or the Empire. And all these ships, while these ships are the TIE Fighter and X-Wing, they are different because they're more like the movie, and I believe the cards themselves are different.
Yeah, so this is 100% based on, but yeah, it's much more in line with the new movie. So.
But it's still mixed with all the other ships, so you don't have to feel like, well, if I want to get the older ships, I don't really want this set. It's really good. It's perfect timing because the movie's coming out as of this recording, like you said, like 3 weeks.
Yeah, as of this
so
recording.
it'd be a very exciting gift, especially. In fact, Christmas, I don't know where Hanukkah falls right now, but is after the movie. So people see the movie, like, oh man, this is cool. Then they'll be like, oh my god.
Yeah, really excited. Yeah, and like you said, it's perfect for if there's someone who already plays X-Wing or if they're new to it. And the other cool thing is, even if you think they might already have it, they probably won't mind because you can always use more ships.
Yes.
Even if they're the same kind in X-Wing. So it will probably be appreciated either way. So that's a pretty good one.
Yeah, moving on once again to very popular shows and movies. We got the new Game of Thrones LCG card game, the 2nd edition. We keep doing things like there's another version of it. This game was actually just rebooted, so this isn't like the X-Wing one we talked earlier, in which it's just a different skin, I would almost say. This is a whole new game. Like the other one is out of print, it's done.
Right.
And I've gotten the chance to play this one. And I've actually played both. You have not played it. Did you play the first one?
I have not played either of them yet.
When we do an episode on this, we're actually going to see how this goes. It's going to be very interesting. But the second one is, compared to the first one, is completely different in all the best ways. In the first one, a lot of the times what would happen, I felt, is your big cards, you never want to touch them. Because you feel like, I could spend on that, but like I need to get things out because people are going to start killing me, and like this is so expensive to just get, like it doesn't really feel it's worth its cost. And then there was all these sort of like each player has an event card. I forget the name of the
Plot
deck.
cards or something?
I think so, yeah. And to me, most of the plot cards were, at least in the starter set. Because my friend who had it, he bought all the big boxes for the Game of Thrones things. And even then, I think his deck for two of the groups, the Kraken family, whose names I always forget.
The Kraken family.
But in this one, it actually comes with a deck designed for all 8 groups, including the 2 new ones, the Watch of the Wall, and another group. I'm terrible with Game of Thrones names.
This is why I want to segue off that because the fact that you are not very familiar with all the names of those things, but you still really enjoyed the game.
No, the game was amazing. Because I want to go with the new stuff is each group has at least one, I think 2, like big cards that you reveal. Like from the stories, like when you drop them on the field, you're like, yeah, I'm about to just wreck everyone.
So it should go without saying that if you know someone who loves Game of Thrones, which is nowadays most people, this will definitely be right up their alley. And all those references to the books and the show.
And unlike all the rest, like I said, he had to buy all the expansions. Even then, he didn't have it. Whatever family you like, that set works. And each set plays differently. I personally am a fan of the Watch because they actually play more defensively than most, which is really fun because it was very different than what you're used to.
And it is the new set, so you don't have to worry about playing catch up with a lot of expansions and things like that. This is the start, so it's a good place to jump into it. Another brand new LCG, although that one is sort of redo, and so is this one.
well, no, mine actually has the title LCG. Yours doesn't.
We're not going to get into that. It is an LCG. It's called Versus. It's from Upper Deck. Officially, it has the title 2-player card game, but this is a card game that has been around before, and they're bringing it back, and the first set has everything to do with Marvel Comics characters. So in the future, they're going to have different properties involved with it. This one is specifically Marvel, and it is a 2 to 4 player game, and like Game of Thrones, it's eventually going to have packs added to it, not randomized, so you can add things to it, like a living card game.
We'll say more like small expansions instead of packs.
Yes, something like that. And it is a really fun game. First of all, people who like Marvel, this is a new thing. It's a good jumping off point because it hasn't been out very long. And if you know anyone who likes games along the lines of, you could probably say this for Game of Thrones as well, Magic the Gathering, or those kinds of trading card games, things in that vein. This is that kind of game, but without all the hassle and pain and money having to spend. Plus, Marvel characters.
Right. And we should mention, because you mentioned earlier with different titles, the way it's going to work is 1 year is going to be Marvel, the next year is going to be whatever is not Marvel, and then the third year is going to be whatever is not going to be whatever the second year property was. So you're going to always change properties each time. And we should mention that the company that's making this, currently we know they have the rights to make Alien, Predator, and Firefly.
Yeah, so this is the gift that keeps on giving. So every year that next set will be a good one. So yeah, even if you aren't crazy about Marvel, it could be a good starting point for those future expansions.
And we should also mention, because I know a movie's coming out soon, one of the characters that you can sort of have lead your group in, because you sort of choose one hero to charge, is Deadpool. And I know there are a lot of Deadpool fans out there. And the card, when you read it, it definitely feels Deadpool.
Yeah, there's some fun thematic stuff in there. The artwork's pretty cool. So that's Versus. That's a good one. And what I was saying about Magic, but with less hassle, applies pretty well to the next game as well.
Did you plan this to segue so well into each other?
It's just natural to me.
Well, the next game is Epic, the card game. This is from the same makers of Star Realms, which I actually confuses the box a bit sometimes. The game itself is really designed to be a drafting game with if you can get multiple sets. But that's the nice thing. The game's designed, like Star Realms, to be, I think it's 2 people for each one you have, and it's very cheap. So you can be like, okay, I'll just buy one, or if we'll buy multiple, if we have a larger group. And it has the Magic the Gathering sort of fantasy feel, but unlike that, in Magic the Gathering, where to use energy, you have to sort of sit yourself into 2 groups. In this, that isn't the case. So you can pretty much just grab everything as you remember playing.
You can be much more experimental and like pick cards that you think are just really fun, even if in a normal game they wouldn't like jive with your whole scheme.
Right. That's why it's really designed to be a drafting game, because if you've ever played a lot of drafting before, what usually happens is, okay, especially in like Magic where there's a rare, uncommon to common, you'd be like, okay, I'm going to take this rare, and then you sort of go down and you feel, as you recall, each time you got a hand, it's just like, this is all good!
Yeah.
This is also all good.
Every card is awesome in that game. The artwork is crazy. That's a definite for anyone who, again, likes stuff like Magic.
Yeah, no, if you like drafting, this game is designed for that. It's the perfect game for you. It makes it so every hand is actually interesting. You're not forced to, 90% of the time, you're not forced to play like a garbage hand or something. You will have a fun time just going through all the cards.
And if it wasn't, obvious from the artwork also, it's high fantasy dragons and monsters and demons, so very, very, very cool stuff. Speaking of crazy factions of the medieval realm, you probably, maybe not, are familiar with the game Smash Up, which is a really fun, casual kind of card game. And there's also another one called Munchkin, which is even more casual and very popular.
So why don't we smash them up?
They chocolate and peanut buttered them together for this new expansion, Smash Up Munchkin, which we have played, and it's a lot of fun. And anyone who has played Smash Up will be right at home with this, but it does add some really cool new twists. There's now a treasure deck and a monster deck, and it really does change the way the game feels a lot. If you're familiar with Smash Up, it adds a lot to it.
In particular, if you play with just the Munchkin Smash Up,
right,
the treasure deck just becomes this whole new property of like discarding and drawing and like holding on to stuff. It's really interesting because we only played so far with just Munchkin Smash Up because we want to see all the groups.
Right.
But it just does all this crazy stuff, and I'm really curious to see what happens if we actually mix in other things, because then the treasure drawing will be much different, but the monsters will still be around.
Yeah,
so,
and that's important to point out because this is a standalone set. You can play it just by itself, but as you said, you can also mix it if you have any other Smash Up expansions or the original Smash Up. So another good one, in case you don't know what they have or don't have, you'll be safe, you'll be covered either way. But yeah, Munchkin Smash Up, very popular, so that's a safe recommend, I think. Speaking of safe recommends.
No, I don't think there's a good enough segue for this one. But what we're going to focus on now is a favorite hero of mine, Batman. He actually has 2 good games for you to buy for all the fans of Gotham out there. There is, for 2 popular games, have done Batman versions of Flux and Love Letter. Now, if you don't know either of them, Love Letter is a game where you play around with cards, trying to guess each other's cards and have the highest point value or eliminate everyone 4 times. In this case, it's more with Batman's villains and trying to capture them. While Flux, on the other hand, is, Flux with Batman characters, and pretty much the rules change every turn.
Right, yeah. They're both crazy, very casual, family-oriented, very fun and easy to pick up games.
I would also like to note that the Batman Flux is actually based off the Batman 90s cartoon.
Right.
Which we are both very big fans of.
Which is pretty awesome. Yeah, so for sure, for Batman fans, this is
I think Batman Flux is definitely, if you have someone who's reminiscent of the 90s cartoon, that's going to be perfect gift for them.
And these are both also, these are kind of a little bit of a cheat, because both these games, there's new versions of older games, but they're both done really well, and they're both just great. They're small, so they're perfect stocking stuffers. Yeah. Gotcha. And again, anyone can learn these, so if you're not sure what their level of play is.
I would also like to mention, sort of on a side note, since this exists for both Love Letter and Flux, there are a Santa Claus Love Letter, a Christmas Flux, and I believe there actually is also a holiday Flux, and I think there's actually a Jewish Flux pack, like a Hanukkah pack.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
I don't think there is one though for Kwanzaa or I'm blanking on that. But maybe there is.
Those are all
So if you want to actually stay in the holiday theme
within the Flux and Love Letter families. Both good choices.
There's probably like a theme for whatever you want in one of those games.
Next up, we are going to talk about, it's mainly a new expansion, but also the base game to Camel Up. The expansion just came out, but this is a great family game, again, that's also super fun for gamers. This was the winner, right, of the Spiel des Jahres a year ago. And it's basically it's a race. It's a betting game where you're racing on these camels, and it sounds kind of ridiculous, but it's extremely fun, very fast, very casual.
I feel like half the games we just play to actually explain to someone just to play board games would sound ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, you're racing camels, you're making a sandwich, like, every time that someone would be like...
This is a game that, every time I've played it with anyone, I think your experience is the same. I've always loved it. They always want to play it again almost right away.
It's not something where you need to be a board game fan to love. It's got the fun betting mechanic anyone can understand. It's got a cool rolling thing with the pyramid,
You roll
3D
a die in a pyramid.
and it's not too complicated to understand, but still enough that you can still like try to plan and do some stuff.
And this new expansion, Super Cup, adds, first of all, more people can play it, which is always welcome. The original goes up to 8. I think the new one is up to 10. So great for large groups. And has some other stuff, like the race can go on for longer, and you can also make alliances with people. So if you have
Isn't there something with a camera too?
Yeah, there's a camera now, so like depending on if you like try to bet on their positions, and you can get more points that way. So there's a lot more stuff in that. So definitely worth checking out if you have the original. You might maybe just get both of them in one go and get the ultimate experience of camels. Spiel des Jahres, though.
Yeah.
Prestigious award.
And don't forget to check out our friend Neil dressed up as Camel Up for the Halloween
Missed
episode.
out. Check out our Nightmare 2 episode from recently.
If you want nightmares.
Great inspiration for your Halloween costumes.
But speaking of Spiel des Jahres nominees and winners, this year one of the nominees was Machi Koro. And while it did not win, we do agree it's still a great game to play. And it came out with a new expansion, the Millionaire's Row, and also a special edition. In the Millionaire's Row, we'll focus on that first. Sure. Pretty much add some new cards, such as like there's a winery, a general store, some more cards to make it a bit more difficult and challenging.
Well, I guess give the basic in case I don't know.
Right, of course. Machi Koro, if you didn't know, how could I forget? I just assumed everyone knew about it.
Everybody should know.
Is pretty much you're building a town, and the way your town, you get money and you buy like different stores, convenience stores, or mountains or farms. But what happens each turn, people roll a die, and depending on what cards you have, and whether you rolled it or whether someone else rolled it, different effects occur. Like some only happen when someone else rolls a die, when some only happen on your own turn, which becomes an interesting balance of numbers and whether do these effects go off. Like I have a lot of things that happen on 2s, but I don't really have anything that happens on 4 or something. So it's a very fun balancing game and also very colorful. So it's very attractive to the eye.
Super.
And
pretty.
Millionaire's Row is pretty much just upping the ante and adding more interesting cards for different values and numbers.
Yeah. So and of course that deluxe box, if you want it to look really nice
Right.
and fancy, comes
well,
with like a tin.
It also comes with a promo card that was only available, I think, in the first printing of Machi Koro. I believe it's the game convention.
that's a good
Yes.
promo card to have.
But the times we've played it, we've really enjoyed it. There is actually a very interesting thing. I think it's when you go beyond 4 players, the rules sort of change. It's in under 4.
Well, that's I think also with the
Harbor.
the
Yes.
other expansion is what changes it.
Harbor adds more people, which is nice. Which we
Right.
didn't mention that because it's been out for a while, but that's also a good one too.
Yeah.
Pretty much adds more people, and usually every building's out, and it's just the same amount of copies. But with Harbor, it becomes more random, so the strategy changes completely.
A lot more variety. So yeah, and some people love that, some people don't, but either way, the whole family is a pretty easy recommendation
Right.
for people.
It's not too hard to learn. It's just simple. Roll the dice and see what happens. But at the same time, because of the different buildings that are out, you still have to actually plan ahead and think. Like I was mentioning, certain numbers. Like I've got nothing above 3. I should probably focusing on getting that.
Right. Yeah. It's almost like a dice game in a way, but with more depth to it than that.
Right.
And then our final holiday gift recommendation for you is sort of our, I don't know, I want to call it like a bonus holiday pick because it's a little more out of left field, is Chaosmos.
I would say it's like a personal favorite.
Yeah, it's a more personal pick for us. This was originally a Kickstarter. It's from Mirrorbox Games. It is their first and so far only game, and it is now available in wide release, so you can get it from our site. And basically, it's a sci-fi themed game where you're all different aliens and different planets.
I would like to mention it because you just said all these are available. We're not saying things
Yes.
that aren't available yet. Like, this is great. You should get it, but it's only pre-order.
These are all available. I just wanted to point out, especially for this one, because it is sort of an indie
yes.
kind of game. You're all aliens on different planets, and there's one card that you need in order to win, and it's hidden somewhere on the board. And whoever has it when time runs out wins the game. So it's
Physically has it. So if no one
in
has
their hand.
it,
So it's like a big game of keep away, hide and seek with
bluffing,
attacking, bluffing, sci-fi stuff. Very original, very fun, very different. We've gushed about it a lot on our show.
Yeah, it's the game that comes with a lot of really cool components that makes it very interesting. The idea of having these envelopes of what's on the planet, some that are poisonous to you, some that are not. Different game modes which you haven't tried out, like the card in question. There's a fake one then, and you have to try to guess which one's the real one.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to do all that. See, that's Cosmos is definitely more on the heavier side, but not super heavy. It's like good middleweight, I'd say.
It's interesting because at first it does seem heavy, but like the actual combat in the cards, very simple.
Yeah, the actual what your goal is pretty direct.
No, but I mean, like, you know how some cards are like
yeah.
2 attack, and then on your next turn gain an additional 3 movement. It's simple. It's just
not
like
that.
+2/+1. There's simple dice roll. Like the number, the combat's not complicated to understand.
It certainly is not as not intimidating as some of the other ones, though,
Right.
if you try to introduce someone new. So I would say, other than Chaosmos, Pandemic Legacy, and maybe Game of Thrones, almost everything we talked about today, though, is pretty ready for any family and most age groups. I think they're pretty easy
I
to
think we did a
introduce.
good job of hitting like a wide range.
Yeah, like you could probably tell from watching.
But of course, this is only just like a
Outrageous.
little taste of great gifts. We just want, like you said in the very beginning, we just wanted to say some of the new stuff that's out and readily available for people.
Right, of course.
If you wanted a full list, we'd probably go on forever.
And these also aren't necessarily like we're going to do later a show with our favorite games of the year. These aren't necessarily those. It's more of what we think also has that we really like, but that also has a lot of appeal and try to
And availability.
yeah, and try to really get to people and that we are popular.
We should also mention the order we go in did not do ranking of what we liked. It wasn't like Chiasmo was the best or we thought Pandemic Legacy was the best. We sort of just had them in order and just
Yeah, I'd
That's how it
say
went.
if you don't know, if you're on the fence about anything, the best one is probably like games like Camel Up or Machi Koro, because both heavy and non-heavy gamers can enjoy them. But also a great default to fall back on would be either X-Wing, Game of Thrones, or Versus, because they're all based on licensed properties. So if you know somebody likes those, you're guaranteed to get it.
I definitely feel those three will scratch the itch of
Batman as
anyone
well.
who has the licensed property. Versus, I mean, Epic and Versus definitely fit the sort of the chess style strategy of the challenging, playing against each other.
Yeah.
But I think they do it at a way, both of them do it in a way that's much cheaper than most card games.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So you're safe. It's good.
Which is very important.
We're saving you money.
Which is one of the reasons why we really like them.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's our holiday gift guide. That's all we're going to cover for the gift portion of the show. But before we left, this is our podcast for the week. We're kind of taking a mini break because it is Thanksgiving and everyone's doing stuff. But we did want to get to just a few viewer comments from a week or two ago.
I mean, how could we not?
So if you aren't a normal viewer of the podcast, you can stop now and just leave if you want.
Or you can actually become one and leave a comment.
That would be awesome. You can do that right in this video below, and we will read it on the air as I'm about to do right now. So we got just a few to go over. This is from a few episodes ago. We talked about the new Star Wars Rebellion game. Justin Orton commented saying he's excited for it. That was it. But
Okay.
there's more. We also talked about that Coliseum box art. Remember?
Right, and
There's some divisiveness.
And how, like,
Justin weighs in, likes the old Coliseum art way better. Says new art makes it look like a Hanna-Barbera kids cartoon, which, depending on your preferences, might be a good or a bad thing. I don't know. So that's interesting. We already kind of discussed our thoughts on it. You can go back and watch that episode. And then Falcon. We were also talking about the Bartle's taxonomy. Was it Bartle?
yeah.
I don't remember the name of Bartle's taxonomy. So Falcon Ash K talked about that, and you can go back and see what the heck we're talking about if you don't know, and said that he would be the explorer and achiever, and referenced video games like World of Warcraft and Destiny as places where he ran into a lot of people who were just in it to just get loot and grind and get to the end.
Right.
And that his preference is a little more, although you can make those games what you want, things like Mass Effect, where the more of that world building, immersive kind of atmosphere, but also with the, still the feeling of accomplishing things.
No, I definitely agree with that. I mean, we'll go out to a lot of the games he started off with Destiny. When I first heard that in the commercials, I thought it was going to be the kind of game when I was going to be wandering around, finding these worlds and doing all this stuff. But exploring-wise, you find most of it pretty fast.
Right.
I mean, there isn't too much story. The thing is, the story-wise, there is a lot more story, but it's not in the game. It's on these things called Grimoire cards, which is in the app. It's like, I don't want to go to a separate thing just to read a book. Like,
Right.
I want it to be sort of...
It's sort of a cheat when
Right. But meanwhile, like the way Mass Effect and Fallout would do it is when those cards, technically, they have the same thing. But the thing is, like Fallout, each time I visit one of those little spots, is like almost a whole new story. Like I'm visiting a gas station, like it could be a simple thing of like hide the radiation in the cave downstairs. Like that's it, but it's just all little stories. Like you're finding out each story.
It's like Metroid Prime when you scan everything. And
right,
you read
exactly.
the log
But it's not
books.
like you just here's all the papers. Read.
Right, right.
You're not going to the wiki page.
What were we talking about again?
Well, the difference between like how the explorer and like that's
Yeah.
why Destiny definitely is fit more for the achiever, because I'm going to get through. I'm going to get the best guns. You know, I'm going to show off what I have, all my raid loot. But
Anyway,
like other
board
games,
games.
yeah,
No, yeah, it was a little bit of a tangent, but it's we talked about it, so it's fine. They should make a Destiny board game, maybe. Is there a Warcraft board game or
Monopoly?
I think there's World of Warcraft Monopoly.
Well, I'm sure as soon as the movie comes out, we'll see some more stuff.
Yeah, probably movie version of Warcraft Monopoly. And then one final brief comment from our good friend, not really, don't know who he is, Edward Palacio, don't know how to say your last name.
We
Edward,
apologize.
Edward P. says, thanks for the news, guys. And then he had some constructive criticism about the quality of our picture, which we work on. We try our best to work on it every week, and hopefully we improve. And sometimes we have hiccups, but we do appreciate when people give us feedback and advice in that area,
We
because
should appreciate comments.
we're always trying to better ourselves. So please keep them coming. Again, you can comment right on this video, or you can email us, rollforcrit@gmail.com.
We're also listening on Twitter. That's @RollForCrit, and our personal Twitter.
You can even comment on our Facebook page,
Oh, yeah.
whenever you want. If you have the perfect gift idea in mind, let us know. Anything like that. Otherwise, you can catch all those games that we recommended today at our website, rollforcrit.com, where we have all those games for sale. Pandemic Legacy, Game of Thrones.
Not only that, we have plenty of news. We post all our videos there, so if you want to keep up, we'll be posting more articles as we go along. And of course, catch up with us on all our other videos. Everything's there.
Everything is there that you could ever need. So hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. We'll be back with a regular news episode next week. And also, it's going to be Star Wars month.
Oh yeah.
So be on the lookout for Star Wars stuff. We'll probably be posting about it. Hope you enjoyed. My name is Jonathan Estes.
I'm Will Keeler, and this has been Roll for Crit.
Hey ladies, welcome to Roll for Crit Ladies Night. Tonight's show we're going to be talking about a game I like to play called Love.